This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's also mention another quote from Meltzer here. Perhaps the biggest frustration is that everyone knows the multi-million-dollar angle that will turn the thing around, but it requires getting Bischoff, Goldberg, etc., and requires the McMahons to be vulnerable, and requires the long-term wrestlers to accept the idea that because business is bad, some guys need to be jump-started ahead of existing, and in most cases, better talent. It's also mentioned here as he wraps up his diatribe here. It's not happening now, and it feels like we're in a holding pattern, waiting for, of all people, Kevin Nash to save the day. And that's not a position I'd like to gamble the industry on. But I do think that he sort of hits the nail on the head. In order for this thing to have really worked, the McMahons would have had to at least momentarily allowed the perception that, WCW is going to kick our ass. And they probably didn't want to do that. And they would have had to open up the checkbook to get Eric Bischoff to lead this group, not one of the McMahons.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but while I'm thinking about it, it takes two to tango.
Sure.
Some of those guys that have been mentioned here, Kevin Nash, et cetera, how do we all know that they were wanting to get back on the road, wanting at the latter stages of their career? Because all of them are, had 20 years or so experience. They've been battered, had surgeries and all this stuff. How do we all know that they wanted to get back on the road? Well, I can tell you who knows. I know. They weren't interested. And they were going to let their contracts play out with Time Warner, because Time Warner was paying a handsome sum to those individuals. So there's two definitive ways to looking at this thing. Is Meltzer right that if we had the full complement of talents, and we had Goldberg and all the other guys that had Hall and Nash and all that good stuff, Eric would have been perfect. But and I'm not saying Eric didn't want to come to work. I don't know that he did or he didn't, because I don't think he and I had a conversation about that at that point in time. But it was finally decided that he would come to work, and he did a good job, did a real good job. That hug he had with McMahon on the stage was epic. And I thought Eric did a great job. He beat me in a match on Raw and got color. What's he want? So anyhow, but it takes two to tango. Some of those guys just didn't want to come back on the road. They weren't ready to come back on the road yet. And those that have been off, Conrad, wanted to make sure their bodies are right, make sure they were healthy, they look good, they're in show shape. And you can't get in show shape just being off work. You still got to train and prepare for it. And some of the guys just didn't seem to be motivated for that at that time.
But isn't that part of the other side of the coin? Like, if you don't have the right talent for this angle, maybe wait and do it when you do.
Well, I think that's a good point. But I think what we thought was what we had, combining all the talent, the Booker T's of the world from WCW, et cetera, and mixing them in with some established WWE guys with a great name identity was enough.
Yeah.
I think that was the thought. We hoped it would be enough, because there just wasn't any chance at that time to get to those other guys we talked about. It would have made my job a lot easier, but it just didn't work out.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.